Hi, very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a wonderful day so far. Yes? You know, a trick is always, especially after lunch, and if you lean back, it's going to be really difficult to pass the rest of the day. So I would really suggest for you to sit up, because that's going to be fun. Okay, a quick one. My name is Yuen, and I have the honor and the pleasure to very quickly drill these four wonderful panelists here I have on the stage with me, very quickly about some of the trends. But most important, I guess, if you could up my volume of my mic, that'd be really good. Yes, up it. Yes. If you immediately Google trends for e-commerce to drive sale, you get like long list, probably like about 4 pages worth. So what we want to do in this panel, in this session, is to minimally achieve the idea of what do we not want to do, and what is complete BS, and what are some of the stuff that perhaps in reality really is related to what we're doing. So very, very quickly, maybe you just go around very quickly about what you're doing, as well as the company that you are. We just heard from you, Loke, so that's good. We'll go to Jonathan.
Hi, I'm Jonathan. I'm from iCar Asia. You probably have never heard of iCar Asia. That's fine. iCar Asia is our parent brand that is listed on the Australian Stock Exchange. We have different car brands in each country, Malaysia, Thailand, and Indonesia. In Malaysia, you probably know carlist.my.
So carlist.my. Yes, yeah? All right.
Yeah. So that's one of them. It's a car marketplace where we list cars for sale. And we have the same model in each country. We do new cars, used cars, we auction cars, we do everything related to cars.
Everything cars. Okay. Xinch.
Hi, I'm Xinch. I lead the marketing team at StoreHub. StoreHub is a business operating system for restaurant and retail entrepreneurs. We help, brick and mortar businesses digitize, helping them go online, automate their reporting, operations, customer loyalty, pretty much everything.
So it's more than just a POS system, I imagine, right?
Well, I hope so, yeah.
Yeah. So it's also about how they're using it. Okay, Edwin, tell us about Signature Market. Signature Product Food, organic.
Hi. So I'm from Signature Market. So what we do is e-commerce, and we sell natural and organic groceries.
But you're not a marketplace, right? You're
it's not a marketplace,
really directly selling it direct.
Yes.
And
Signature Market is our brand. We have 450 products, and everything is our own brand.
So you buy it raw, and you repackage, and then you sell it on your website, the Signature Market brand.
We are working with a lot of like food manufacturers, and they pack it for us under their facilities, and we sell it, we market it through our own brand. Okay,
so Xinch, you go first. What is the one thing you implemented from January 2019 that is different from before because you see it coming?
I'm going to talk about what some of our merchants have implemented because they're the ones selling e-commerce. Stuff that we've implemented, I think I'm talking about that later. But I think the biggest thing so far has been watching them implement customer loyalty programs to drive a lot of sales and building customer databases. Some of our customers have gone like really, really rogue, I like to call it. They offer like a hijab for, let's say, cost or almost free to get email addresses and phone numbers or Telegram accounts from their customers. The whole goal here is to build a whole customer database, so the next time that they launch a new product, they've got about 10,000 people to sell to. This is their zero-cost marketing. So for some of our customers, they've seen about 2x or 2 to 4 times the amount of sales just from doing that, instead of like advertising from scratch.
So you say most of them are starting to collect database
yes.
now.
I think that is their entire mission for 2019. One of our merchants, they sell hijabs online, and their entire goal this year is to get 100 customers in their database a week.
A week?
Yeah.
And not necessarily buying customers though.
They're not buying, well, technically they are because they're giving away a hijab at cost or almost free. But yeah.
I see the loyalty bit also in Signature Market, which is a big thing. Is it really helping your business, loyalty? How do you view loyalty? Right now we're still talking about getting database, but what is a real loyalty program that's very different? So what sort of loyalty do you drive?
So for us, actually we run the same campaign, where we sell product at the cost just to acquire. It's just like a grocery store, right? You always have a product which is called loose leader, where people has to like go to the very end of the store to buy chicken at a roasted chicken at a very cheap price, and on the way they come back, they might pick up something along the way. So for us, it's also something like that. So we teach them in loose leader product at like cost or near to cost. Then next thing we do is we send them a lot of emails to activate them back. Yeah.
Okay, I mean, I really just want to caution that it is one thing to collect database, totally another thing to have a loyalty program, completely different. Okay, perhaps you'd like to tell me what you've been looking at.
Just one thing on loyalty
Sure.
program.
Sure.
So our loyalty program is with our used car dealers,
Yeah.
or our dealers, because that's how we make money. So we can't email them, they don't read emails. We can't SMS them, they don't treat it as serious. We've started using WhatsApp to them now, but really the main loyalty thing that we do with them is a phone call, a personal phone call, which is kind of old school and new school at the same time, which is a huge challenge for us, and something to get them to log on to systems and things like that is incredibly challenging, and one of the most important parts of our business is to look after them.
Wow, so you have
that's a different way of...
How many dealers are we talking about here?
So in Malaysia, there's probably 3,000 odd dealers.
And how many people are serving 3,000 dealers?
Sorry?
How many people serve 3,000 dealers?
We have an account management team of 15.
1,500? 15?
No, 15 people.
15 people?
Plus, we have about the same again as a telesales team. So some just like phone calls. The 15 account managers also do visits. So they will go and visit. They spend the whole afternoon, they are out in the field. In the morning, they're in the office. The rest of the day, they're out. And they'll see 2 or 3 or 4 dealers a day, maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 7, depending on where. But in a country like Thailand or in Jakarta, that's impossible.
Yeah, I can
You'll
just
see one
imagine.
dealer a day.
Whoa, because one
Maybe
dealer a
2.
day.
Traffic. Cars, the very things that we're trying to sell. Ironic.
How ironic, right? Okay, look, I think you guys would really be expert when it comes to loyalty, which Xinch just talked about. Perhaps you'd like to give us a little insight about the latest trend or the latest thing that most companies are driving. What sort of loyalty program right now?
Like what I mentioned just now, when the customer, they first buy from your website or from your offline store, you will only have one app to register them as a member. From there, you can send out your welcome gift, your first time app download gift. All these are voucher I'm talking about. And as well as you can send them a birthday gift, a very normal thing that most of the company will practice.
Okay.
But besides that, we can also
relationship build, understand the segment, and therefore create very specific programs for them.
Like the app push notification that I mentioned just now, we are able to do until this segmented.
Oh, you can segment it to very
let's
specific.
say you have a customer base of 1 million, you are not going to send out one kind of message to all your members. That's ridiculous. You have to have this data insight to know that which phases of your customer, who are those that contribute a lot. Those are the ones that have
20%
been
and the
asleep for
80%,
a
right.
long time. Then with different strategy, then you're able to filter from the back end, and then you can create a different campaign to targeting them.
Okay, Jonathan, what is a complete BS for you when it comes to trends? When it comes to don't even look at it, don't even think about it, doesn't work.
Excellent question. I think the one thing for me that we've experienced probably is using, so I'm not going to say that this always doesn't work, but sometimes it doesn't. And for us, it's using social media influencers or using KOL sometimes.
Right.
So some of them, if you want really good reach or a really good audience, it's quite an investment, especially for a .com. And sometimes with the growth now and people selling stuff on Facebook Live, that there's even dealers selling cars on Facebook Live.
Is that working or is not working?
They tell us it's working, but I don't 100% believe them. Because the numbers that they tell us, and this particularly happens in Thailand rather than here in Malaysia, because Facebook Live in Thailand is crazy. It is so popular. People are selling anything from jewelry to shoes to handbags to everything just on their Facebook Live channel.
Did you know they sell fish here on Facebook Live?
Yes,
Fish in Xinch.
Yes, my brother-in-law, who's my rest of my family is local Malaysian. They have bought fish like that.
Whoa.
So that for me, and I'm not saying that it never works. I mean, we still, as an automotive company, we still have, we still sponsor a couple of racing drivers and people like that. But sometimes the things that we've tried with inviting bloggers and some KOLs to events that we do, it just hasn't produced any tangible results from my point of view. And because we are listed on the stock exchange, everything that we do is heavily looked at in terms of return on investment. So that for us is quite a challenge. We still use them. I'm not saying we don't use them at all. I'm just saying that at the level of
Governance.
Investment and stuff that we have to put in, I'm just not entirely convinced that we're getting the ROI back. And ROI for us is actually quite difficult to measure because we're not a true e-commerce player. We're a middle person. So we connect the dealer to whoever wants to buy a car. So as long as that happens, I don't know what happens at the end. So I'm not always sure, did they actually buy the car off that dealer? So I can't track that. That's offline. That's post my clicks.
Right, okay. So, Xinch, BS.
This one was a difficult one, but what I think is a huge e-commerce BS is that, e-commerce is going to kill brick and mortar. I really, really think that's bullshit. Even in the US, brick and mortar still accounts for 80% of retail sales. And what this means for us, though, and I think this is really apparent here in Southeast Asia, you've got brands like Pomelo going offline, as an example. The future is more omni-commerce, and how this will impact a lot of small businesses moving forward is having their brick and mortar store as a way to to help customers discover them. Brick and mortar stores are a discovery channel, and e-commerce stores feed into their existing customers. Yeah. So if you've actually come to a store like, I sometimes go to this place called Coco Roa in Bangsar to buy chocolate. That's how I first discovered them. They're just right around the corner. And eventually I liked them so much, but I kind of didn't want to drive out because, parking in Bangsar, I can just shoot myself. So what happened was I decided to just buy their stuff online. My lifetime value with Coco Roa is pretty freaking high because they have an e-commerce store. And that is going to be the future of omni-channel, discovery offline, buying online.
Right. So, Signature Market, you don't have a store, do you? Or do you have a store? So
Not
how
yet,
are you
maybe.
dealing with this? Not yet? Okay, maybe. So what is your point on this? What do you think?
So for me, I think the biggest BS is there's a lot of suppliers and brand owners come to us and say, online is so, your crowd is so atas, so rich because they have internet, they have used computer, and you can actually sell them a more expensive price or more to gain more margin because they are more sophisticated. It is actually the opposite because at the end of the day, right, in online, right, you actually there's no one-to-one interaction. So to sell something more expensive, right, it really needs the human touch. Okay, so in fact, for Malaysia, e-commerce, if it's not cheaper than the retail, consumer will never buy. So that's one of the bullshit that I feel is totally bullshit.
So your bullshit is it needs to be cheaper, or your bullshit is it's never going to be, it's not supposed to be more expensive? Which one?
No, internet's supposed to be cheaper.
It's supposed to be cheaper.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, I have 13 minutes more. If you do have a question here and there, please raise your hand up very quickly, and we will ask everybody here while we talk about the kind of trend or the kind of ways we can to drive e-commerce sales. But what do you think, just now the same thing that Xinch was saying, it's really about, I can't read it from here, you know. It's really about having a store. How? You don't have store? How?
Okay, so for us, right, because store will charge us a lot, like listing fee lah. Then once you are very popular, you need to support them with a lot of advertisement. So for us, it's very simple. We always go direct to consumer, and we does not want to fight with.
So how do people find you?
Facebook.
How do I find you on Facebook?
Okay, so Facebook is very interesting. What we do is we do a brand awareness campaign. Okay, and everyone will look at our ads and see, hey, who is this guy? So once they click on the ads, right, then for the next 7 days,
you will always be present in my feed.
Yes. So this is the beauty of Facebook.
More strong than your corner lot in Bangsar, okay? Okay, let me just walk up here and look at the screen, which is only on this side, and it's so kecil. My mata also buta. How important is customer community engagement to you? On a scale of 1 to 10, how much are you investing in platforms that support engagement? Okay, Jonathan?
Well, it
engagement,
really comes back to whatever you're trying to do. If your objective is to create a community, that's quite a different objective to I'm going to sell 30 shirts or I'm going to sell this online.
But you don't need to create a community when it comes to car dealers, used car dealers.
But we do with the content that we produce. So we also produce editorial content for the new cars or the news that comes out from all around the world. So there is that's a car culture. That car culture is in every country, in every part of the world, and it's just on slightly different scales. So we have built that community, and it's taken a long time, and you build it based on the quality of the things that you produce and the things that you say. So as soon as you start saying things, that this particular car make and model is amazing and it's brilliant and it's the best, sometimes people see right through that because that might not necessarily be true. Because there are many people who have opinions on cars, types of cars. You can read 4 or 5 different reviews on the same car and they are totally different. And I'm going through that right now. I'm trying to buy a motorcycle, and the reviews are so different. And you also look beyond just where you live to get those reviews. So you look all over the world, wherever, and I get ones that are in Italian, and I translate them into English, sometimes piece by piece, or use the YouTube translator. They're all different. So you kind of wonder, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to tell me the truth, or are you being paid to tell me what they want you to tell me, if that makes sense?
Yeah, but so what would be the end decision from iCar, for example? What would be your stand? I know it's going to be a...
So it's a fine line between giving your opinion, your 100% opinion, to not saying things that are absolutely terrible about whatever product it might be. And that doesn't just apply to cars, that applies to everything.
Okay, so jump in and answer anytime. I think there are more and more questions popping up. So whichever that comes in that you think is relevant, you have expertise in answering it.
So the next one about
please.
how to growth hack 10,000 customers.
10,000 customers.
Is that the second one? Something like that?
Do you have advice for startups to track the growth of customer base of, say, like 10,000 customers?
So my view on that would be, don't try and look for growth hacks or things like that. Start small and just build it. You're never going to end up by having 10,000 customers in 2 weeks' time, unless you do something unreal and you have a lot of money to do it, where you can attract them. Otherwise, that 10,000 might take you 2-3 months. I don't know, but there's no shortcuts to success in pretty much any business anywhere.
Facebook marketing. or on e-commerce sales?
I think it says, do you think we should rely on Facebook marketing for e-commerce sales? I think Facebook marketing is pretty diverse. You've got social media marketing, you've got advertising,
Yeah.
and honestly, it really depends how much money you want to spend. If you've got tons of money, then yeah, of course, Facebook marketing.
What is a lot of money? And what is just enough? This is always the
Oh.
question, right?
Pardon? Yeah.
What is just, enough for
Well, for me, it's about how much you're willing to spend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. It's how much do you have to set aside.
But how do you know if it's enough?
Because if you are funded, let's say you're venture funded, then you have to spend, and depending on how much
Traction you need to build.
how much traction you need to get. If you're not funded, then Facebook advertising is not the only way for you to grow your business. Quick example here would be, but actually no, I want to highlight the one important word here, rely. No, you shouldn't rely on any single channel for any e-commerce sales ever. Please diversify from the get-go. Do content marketing, do SEO, work on your Google AdWords, social media marketing, like just organic stuff, Instagram marketing. You should never rely on any single channel. That's super, super dangerous. I once worked at a company where we were heavily reliant on Google search. And one day, Google decided to obliterate us off the face of Google. We had zero traffic for Google for 6 months when they did the first Google Panda update. And what happened? Sales crashed. So after that, no more reliance on any single channel.
Right. Look, jump in if you want to answer any of those. And tell us,
Yeah.
Edwin.
So what is the best digital
Marketing channel.
Yeah, for us, because we are B2C, right? It's still Facebook. Okay, because Facebook has an awesome algorithm, and it can track you everywhere you go, and it really depends on what is your business. If you are B2B, maybe you go for like SEO or AdWords or something else. But if you are going for B2C and your product is is rely on impulse purchase, Facebook is the one.
Okay, a B2B platform, the best digital marketing channel for Xinch, for StoreHub?
The best digital marketing channel doesn't exist. So it is really up to you what's good for your business. That doesn't exist at all. But actually, someone asked, like, how do you suggest building your own website or
Publishing your product.
on a marketplace like Lazada?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a really, really strong opinion of this.
Okay, tell us.
If you guys have shopped on Lazada recently, 80% of the products you see on the page are from China. So the answer is no.
Build your
Always
own.
have your own website. You can
Always.
still set up a store on Lazada,
Always.
but please have your own site, some e-commerce site somewhere.
And it's not expensive also
No,
today compared to before.
You guys must remember who owns Lazada and why Lazada is here. Lazada is a fulfillment center for Alibaba for the whole of like Southeast Asia. Do not get sucked in. Please have your own e-commerce site, and you can also, sorry if there's anyone from Lazada here.
Or everyone is, be careful. Ooh.
You can have both. I'm not saying you don't
No,
publish
do
on
both,
Lazada.
yeah.
But like we have a merchant who used to sell his coffee products on Lazada, and his product names are very, very unique because there's specific coffee bean, I don't know, whatever it is. But he said that in the last couple of years, he's seen sales on Lazada drop by 80%. And one of the biggest things he's noticed is when he searches for his exact product name and the product keywords on Lazada on any device, his products turn up on page 4. The fourth page
Right,
of the search.
right.
And everybody knows, even on Google search, you rarely go past 2 if
Yes,
you're really
yes.
looking for something.
Right. Okay, what...
I could just add something
Yes.
to that. I've noticed that recently myself. I was looking for the little door bins that sit in the handle of your car. They're custom made.
Which? Custom made which?
They're custom made in China.
Yeah.
But they're for sale on Lazada, and they're only for left-hand drive cars.
Oh, only for left-hand drive.
I've lived here for 7 years, and I've seen maybe 2 left-hand drive cars.
So just be
maybe
careful
4
when
actually.
you buy.
Yeah, maybe 4.
So-
But I agree about the best digital marketing channel. There is definitely not one. It depends entirely on what you're trying to do.
Is
You're
Google
trying to-
Ads still effective?
Is which ones?
Google Ads still effective to boost e-commerce, and Facebook versus Instagram ads? Which is better?
Google is still, it's kind of a necessary evil, just as I would say Facebook is as well. We have a kind of love-hate relationship with them, I suppose, where a lot of the times they do things we don't even know about it. They'll never tell you about them, and it can, like just what you said, it can completely change your business the next day, and you start getting asked questions. How come our organic traffic's gone like that? And it's like, and organic traffic is the hardest thing to try and figure out.
Yeah.
And then we find out it's one change made by the Google algorithm, one small thing changed, and that affected 10% of our traffic.
So you just have to be on top of your game when it comes to Google algorithm, perhaps.
Yeah, but you still don't know what it is.
Right.
You might read something about it maybe a month later.
So it's a month
when
worth
something
of
is
sales.
published by some tech person who's actually got the time to look into it, because there's lots of people like that.
But actually, that Google thing, it happened to StoreHub just a month ago. Google Search Console had a major bug, but at the same time, one of Google's data centers went down and took down 4% of all websites on Google with it. One of the 4% happened to be StoreHub. We happened to be sitting on that data center. The problem was nobody knew what was going on until a week later. So for us, it looked like, oh, we screwed up. And I was like, guys, what'd you guys do? What'd you guys do? And okay, it turns out it was Google's fault all along. Yeah.
Okay, there's this interesting question. For those who like to go for global penetration, would e-commerce be different from one country to another? And that, I think, Jonathan, you best answer this. Also, Xinch, you did this, right? No,
Yeah.
You have different countries. And does it matter? Different kinds of e-commerce trend, would it be different from one country to another?
Yes.
Okay.
It's entirely
Short
different.
and fast answer, yes.
It is entirely different, even in the close proximity to where we live, in the countries around us, in Malaysia, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, they are all completely different. The way people interact with things, the things they like, the things they talk about, it is totally different. It's the biggest thing I've learned since I've lived here for the last 7 years. Before I worked in the automotive industry, I worked in the property industry, where we were in 7 countries in the ASEAN region, and a lot of, we got bought by an Australian company. I'm a Kiwi, by the way, not Australian. Yay. We got bought by an Australian company, and they wanted to just put in everything that they do in Australia. They wanted to put it in our 7 markets, and we just said, don't do it. It will not work. And they were like, why not? Everybody's the same. People buy property the same. You go, no, it's totally different. Even between Malaysia and Singapore, where you would think it's relatively similar-ish, even between
it's different.
Malaysia and Indonesia, where some of the language is the same, blah, blah, it's completely different.
Absolutely
different.
Yeah. Is e-commerce important for an NGO? I think the question needs to be, is sales important for you? If it is, then yes, it is then. So really, it's really up to what your NGO decides to do. Okay, one last round. We start with Loke. If you can tell us the one thing that they have to do to drive sales, what would it be? One thing that they have to do to drive sales. What would it be? The one thing you do to make sure you drive sales. Go. Okay, he's thinking. He's thinking hard. Jones. Okay, please.
Come and talk to us for our solution.
After all that, baiklah. Okay, Jonathan, one thing must do. Go.
Don't come to me.
Unless you're a car dealer, right?
My only advice would be experiment, fail, learn, and repeat.
Okay, Xinch.
Don't forget remarketing to your customers. It costs a lot of money to acquire them to begin with, so make sure you increase their lifetime value because most of your sales could easily come from them.
So when you say remarketing, what does that mean?
This means email marketing, this means Facebook advertising, this means quite a number of things. I think I'm covering that a little later. It's a longer topic.
Okay, so stay longer so that you can understand remarketing from her. Okay, Edwin.
So for us, my advice would be create a different products so that you can create a new demand for the market. Okay, because right now I know the economy is not that good, so you need to really be more creative and create more demand. Like give your customer more reason to buy you.
Wow, what is the one thing the Asian market came up with recently?
We actually changed our packaging. Okay, so same product, different packaging.
Choi. Like that also count, man. I thought very insightful answer you give me. Okay, thank you everyone. It's 000 here. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up once again for our moderator, Ms. Ngai Yuen, our panelists, Xinch, the head of marketing of StoreHub, Mr. Edwin Wang, the founder of Signature Market, Mr. Jonathan Adam, the CMO of iCar Asia, and Mr. Loke, the senior operations manager of 91APP. That was the emerging e-commerce trends that will drive sales in Malaysia for 2019. Thank you once again.